everyone, it's Jenny from JD's Rockin Readers, and I wanted to share with you today how I form my guided reading groups based on my reading benchmark assessments. First, I have two binders. This is my guided reading group binder that I do all of my planning in, so I'll show you that. And then I have my reading benchmarks binder where I keep all of my students' running records from any benchmark assessments that we have done throughout the school year. So to start, when I do this, in my reading benchmark binder, I have a sheet that I use during assessments. This just helps me keep on track with my kiddos. I figure out what level I want to start assessing them at, and then I write down what their scores were, and if I need to move up a level, down a level, stop, to get their instructional level. But this just kind of keeps me on track and organized a little bit of who I still need to listen to, read, and how far they need to go. Some kids end up reading 3 books to find their instructional level. Some might be 1, some might be 2. It just all depends. So when I do my grouping, this is what I really refer to rather than trying to have 19 different running records in front of me. Looking to see what levels they are. So this is kind of what I look at. I have down here their instructional level next to their name, and that's what I'm going to use to do my groupings. In my guided reading binder, I have a basic grouping sheet. Like this. This is just what I use to write down what groups my kids are in. This has 6 groups on there. I really try to stay to 5 groups if I possibly can, because I like to meet with them as often as I can. So here is the sheet I'm going to use to group my kids and put them on. What I do like to do is kind of take a look at the sheet that I had last, the groupings that I had last, because that's going to help me. They're going to change a little bit, but a lot of it is also still going to stay the same. A lot of kids will be in the same group, but I did have a lot of kids move around this time. So I'm going to start actually with group 5. Group 5 is just what I use with my highest kids. It's pretty simple. I've got a couple kids that are kind of way above some of the other ones. I do teach first grade. They are reading at a level P, so there's only 2 of them. But I'm going to write them in under group 5. I have 21 students in my class, however, only 19 of them are going to be grouped on here. The other 2 are special education students. All right, and then I'm going to look at group 1. These are usually my lowest students. It doesn't matter what groups you put them in, it just helps me stay organized. I have 6 students that actually go to Title I reading. 2 of them are a little bit lower than the other 4, so I'll probably try to group them that way. So my lowest, I have a D, a student reading at a level D, and I have one that is at an E. So I'm going to put them in a group together. I may need to add some other kids to that group from the Title I kids. I'm going to have to kind of see how it works out. I try not to get more than 5 kids in a group, but we'll see. Alright, so there's group number 1, and I've got group number 5. Now each of those only have 2 students. Yes, it's usually more. It's nice to only have 2, but I'm probably going to have some that are going to have more, and then some that are going to have quite a bit less. Group number 2, so that was group 1 was D and E. So for next I'm going to look at my Fs. I think I have quite a few Fs. I have 4 Fs. Now those are all of my Title I reading kids between those 2 groups. Before, on my other one, I had 3 other students that were actually kind of in with, some of these kids were in with group 1, some of these kids, group 2, I had grouped with some of my students that don't go to Title I reading. And so but they have really jumped this time when I did benchmark assessments, so I really don't think any of them are probably going to be in with these students anymore. So those were my Fs. I'm going to go on. I don't have any Gs, I don't have any Hs. Like I said, they really took off and started really reading. So now I have some Is. And I think I'm going to be putting I's and J's together because I have 4 I's. And then I have 2 J's. Now this is putting 6 in this group, which we'll see what happens here. I don't mind having 6 if it's kind of one of my higher groups. That maybe I don't need to zero in on kids so much. But let me see where I get with group 4. If I get with group 4 where I only have 4, maybe I can move one of these kiddos that's maybe having a little more difficulty with comprehension or word attack skills that might fit in better in one group or another. So I have IJ. I do have some Ks. And I have some L's. Oh wait, no I don't. I do have a M. Okay. Now I'm missing a couple of kids here. What am I missing? Oh, there's a K. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I have 5 Ks. All right, so there's my 19 kids. I have a group of 6. Like I said, I usually try to stick to 5, but I think I'm going to try it. We'll see what happens. Some of these kids might need to move around. This is not set in stone. So I'll give it a try. If it's not working, then I'll go to plan B and see what else I can figure out. Whether that's adding another group and splitting these up to give them a little more attention, each student attention, we can do that. But I'm going to stick here with this first. And then what I do is in my binder, it's kind of cool, my groups are ever changing and I like to know who is in each group pretty easily. So I have a front cover sheet that has my students on it. It's Velcroed. Okay, so now I can change my group 1 to my 2 students that I have in there now. Put it back in. And then go to group 2 and switch them all out until I've done all 5 groups. Makes it super easy. And then in here I have my guided reading plans. Get into that on a different video. And my running record benchmarks also. In a different video, I'm going to talk about how I use my benchmarks then. Now that I have my groups, I'm going to look at my kids' running records. I'm going to see what their needs are, where they're struggling, and what they need some help with. So that's where I'm going to use my running records next. All right, thank you.